Hi, I'm Mike Safar, Product Marketing Director for Information Governance at OpenText. IT leaders, tech, and business press are captivated by the promise of generative AI and how it can transform the modern workplace. The hype is well deserved. The achievements of AI are spectacular, from semi autonomous driving to supercharging internet search. In the workplace, though, we need to ensure AI is accurate, effective, and above all, secure. Information governance will be central to the success of generative AI within every organization. My goal here is to lay out the challenges generative AI will pose and some specific ways governance can have a major impact on the success of your AI rollouts. Without applying information governance to your content, AI projects are likely to underperform or fail outright. If people lose trust, it's difficult to regain it. So, preparing carefully before applying AI to your unstructured data is a necessary first step. If users are plagued by inaccuracies, confusion, or data leaks, confidence in AI will erode, likely setting back your rollout and acceptance for weeks or months. As an organization, you'll need to be able to educate about requirements and set expectations as AI is introduced to users. As you progress with the rollout, expect change and remain agile. AI capabilities are advancing rapidly. What does that mean for you? It means your role as an information governance professional is more important than ever. You are critical to the success of AI projects being planned and into the future as the technology evolves. This will be evident as I walk through the relationship between your information and how AI consumes it. In 1980, astronomer Carl Sagan hosted the PBS show Cosmos, inspiring viewers to learn more about the vast universe and its billions of galaxies and stars. He covered many other topics related to human knowledge and discovery, including humans' amazing ability to stockpile enormous quantities of information outside our bodies. We're the only animal capable of creating a shared memory on behalf of our species. The warehouse of that memory is called the library, he said. He illustrated that if we read a book a week, we could only consume perhaps just one library shelf in our entire lifetime. The library's fantastic organization and card catalog mean we can quickly zero in on the books we care about. Most books conveniently include a handy table of contents and index. However, in our digital age, we found ways to warehouse terabytes and zettabytes of information, often with little curation, organization, or indexing. It's not so much a library, it's more like exploring the galaxy. We need a different strategy to make this exploration possible, and that's what generative AI is promising. 80 to 90% of that information is unstructured, most of it opaque to us and practically impossible to navigate. Even if you already have a mature information management system, there are likely decades of files laying dormant in file shares, the contents of which you know little to nothing about. What if you could learn from and reuse this organizational memory in new ways? Text search can be helpful if we know the right keywords, but often we don't. GenAI capabilities give us new opportunities for discovery, but only if we're careful about how we approach them. We're eager to access and digest all this information, but need help coping with its volume and complexity. Information is the modern currency, but if we can't use it, it's a liability. AI promises to make light work of what was previously laborious. The problem is that while generative AI is incredibly impressive, stunning actually, it needs help. It doesn't automatically understand our work processes, how we specifically organize information, or what we think is important. The reality is that while generative AI can make light work of consuming and summarizing information, it doesn't instinctively understand the big picture of your business. To achieve that, AI needs context and curation, just like we do when perusing the library. So far, I've talked abstractly about generative AI, a broad category of several emerging methods of creating new outputs from trained material. The most important of these in our daily business is what is referred to as a large language model. The field of machine understanding of a vast corpus of text has been around for years. Still, most recently, breakthroughs in methods and investments in computing power have enabled AI models that were amazingly powerful and personally relatable, producing astonishing results. To build a large language model, or LLM, developers feed AI immense volumes of raw training data gathered from the public internet and licensed sources. This includes Wikipedia, the dictionary, news sites, books, magazines, and more. These materials inform the basic common understanding of language, society, science, and many other subjects at a high level through text. While training an LLM in this way yields remarkable results, human guidance is critical to building modern commercial models we can use widely. Curation, human response grading, reward modeling, and reinforcement learning are used to fine tune the model to respond accurately and safely. This is analogous to our education and guidance as children to maturity. Without this care, generative AI occasionally emits wholly incorrect or invented responses, which computer scientists call hallucinations, built in biases, and unsafe responses. We can reduce these instances through the steps I'll cover later. Compared to earlier technologies such as text indexing, large language models are unimaginably complex, approaching 2 trillion, that's with a T, parameters or more, and growing. By comparison, our human brains are estimated to have more than 100 trillion parameters. That's 50 times more. With this initial trained large language model, we can converse with the model in plain language that is understandable to even the most casual user. Baked into the model is the ability to hold a conversation as well as millions of topics of interest gathered from the trained data sources. As it has no access to our work product in the organization, we need more help to use it to work with our information. Large tech companies and startups are in an arms race to build the most capable model, with the ultimate goal of realizing artificial general intelligence. Even with smaller language models, we get acceptable results. Each new release is smarter and more efficient. To make AI relevant to our daily work and processes, we need what AI developers call grounding. Grounding is how the language model is combined with source content. Grounding happens through the process of retrieval augmented generation. Relevant content is inferred from the user's initial prompt and presented to the language model for grounding. The retrieval process limits content to what's accessible to the user. So grounding is inherently safe as long as your repository is properly secured. We are left with the remaining problem: context. Without context, a user who asks an ambiguous question, such as "what's the charge?" might be surprised by the answer. Is the intended answer 32%, 32 years, or $32? We need context. Context is as necessary for AI as it is for the user. To achieve context, you start with well-organized and labeled content. With thoughtfully integrated GenAI, we can infer the proper context from the user's prompt to find the optimal grounding content. Without it, AI responses are broad, incomplete, off-topic, and occasionally just flat wrong. Later, I'll show you how to achieve this context in the most critical situations. Most likely, you've already used GenAI to search the web or to query to answer general questions, but it can do so much more. GenAI can also summarize documents or even groups of documents, draft memos or emails, translate for us, or give us a native language summary of a foreign language document. Or GenAI can help us quickly find our way through a long document. We can query for additional data sources, and we can embed GenAI within agent processes and automation to help us complete repetitive work. The capabilities will grow over time through AI research, your integrations, your creativity, and of course, your rigorous governance efforts. With GenAI, we can help users approach information on their own terms and more quickly get oriented to the information they need, avoiding terse keyword searches and endless browsing. There's still a place for that, but many interactions will start with a simple question that the computer inherently understands and ultimately assist users becoming far more productive. It's helpful to visualize how the user experiences GenAI. As information consumers, we've become accustomed to browsing and search interfaces that work well when we already know the information and what to expect. But when we're unfamiliar with the content, getting oriented and finding the correct document and specific information we're looking for can be tough. We'd like some help getting an overview of the file and a hint as to where to start. We can often bypass the initial perusing and familiarization of the file and go right to our primary questions and requests. With a simple question such as summarize the information in this file, GenAI can illuminate and summarize key themes and data points from the content along with links to reference documents. We can even ask follow up questions. Do you need to zero in on a contract value or customer address quickly? Just ask. No more wading through folders and documents. GenAI has an answer and cites the reference document for you. And AI can draft new content for us, such as an email to a customer or client with specific information pulled together from multiple sources. It's a draft, so it may need to be wordsmithed or finessed, but it serves as an assistant to help us break through writer's block and get moving within our work process. If you're viewing a long, complex document, do you want to scroll through it hoping to find what you're looking for, or would you prefer to get some help understanding the key points or ask questions about the document on your terms? As I've described the generative AI process, it probably has you thinking about the ways in which your information system plays a crucial role in the effectiveness of an AI rollout. I'd like to focus now on 6 InfoGov essentials that will improve your results and the success of AI in your organization. How do we build proper guardrails to improve accuracy and safety? How do we get some quick wins under our belt? And how can we stay on top of the rapid changes to our information processes imposed by artificial intelligence? First, curate. GenAI is only as good as the information it has available. It's tempting to open up AI to all that you have and see what works, but that's unlikely to result in success. Unorganized repositories will be noisy and chaotic, and your grounding won't work as you imagine, resulting in AI hallucinations or confusing responses. And if you have sensitive information that isn't well protected, you risk exposure. Look for quick, big wins. Look for processes and use cases with high demand for trusted and widely available information. It's best to start your AI journey with a well managed and curated information repository. Reference materials or well understood documentation used to create other content or work processes are a great place to start. Examples are contracts, RFPs, facts, patent libraries, SOPs, and regulatory content. Conversely, curation also means leaning in on the disposition of expired, irrelevant, or noisy content that will tend to misinform users and GenAI alike. When building reference libraries to power GenAI, bring only the most up-to-date, well-vetted information to the table. As you move past these first pilot projects and on to work in progress, you'll need to get on top of content sprawl, the nemesis of well-curated information that may degrade the GenAI experience. Content sprawl refers to stray convenience copies and abandoned edited versions of documents in email, chat messages, and OneDrive. Worse, this kind of content accumulates if we don't have systems to manage it. While working copies and edited versions may contain valuable information in the short run, they also create noise and confusion in the grounding process. So the less of that, the better. The cure for content sprawl is, you guessed it, a well-managed information management system with automated governance controls, rigorous oversight, and regular policy review. Where does content sprawl live? 2 places to look are unmanaged collaborative workspaces and shadow IT. Collaborative workspaces like Teams channels can be properly managed, but most often they aren't. Without management, they harbor noisy content, duplicates, and outdated information. Integrated management of Microsoft Teams and Google Workspaces with content services can help, something I'll talk about shortly. Avoid shadow IT or any process for which you have little control or insight until you know what it brings to the table for GenAI and how you can get it under better management. Shadow IT includes departments or country operations that aren't following centralized records policies and accepted governance principles. The AI grounding process will ultimately be more effective and produce more sensible results if we lead it to the most useful information. One way to do that is provide labeled data, or put another way, rich, accurate metadata. This goes beyond the file plan or records policy metadata. Use automation to add process metadata such as client, transaction, support ticket, or similar ID wherever possible. Other examples include state information such as whether a document is complete or has been signed or approved by stakeholders. Manual labeling at scale for any sizable volume is impractical. We need intelligent automation to take over. Fortunately, several technologies can assist. Content analysis, or file analysis as it's sometimes called, is a solution that can scan and label petabytes of information appropriately before bringing it into an information management system. This is particularly helpful in identifying documents with sensitive or private information that need additional security. It can also look for signs that indicate a smaller set of documents require manual review. Intelligent document processing can extract metadata from documents and images such as scanned documents, signed documents, and forms. Integrated business workspaces can help drive everyday user processes and ensure newly created content is labeled correctly and secured from its inception, even within collaborative workspaces. I've mentioned the critical element of information security several times. The bad news is that commercial language models do not automatically understand your processes and what must be secured. They can reveal anything they have access to. This is why I emphasize the importance of diligently secured content repositories and avoiding shadow IT. The good news is that if you follow this advice, GenAI can avoid prohibited content during the grounding process. It won't reveal what the user shouldn't see, and it follows the same access and privilege controls. Unfortunately, many organizations haven't been rigorous about protecting their data with the automation tools we mentioned earlier, and this is a prerequisite to unleashing GenAI on that information in your organization. Context is critical. Like my example question earlier, every GenAI interaction with the user has a context. One key measure of large language model capability is the context window, or the amount of grounding data that they can use at any one time. Current language models can handle from 800 to 6,000 pages of information per conversation, equivalent to a few dozen to several hundred documents. And the size of this context window is quickly rising as new models are released. When we ask GenAI a question on an internet site such as Copilot or Google's Gemini, it does its best at inferring a context. For example, suppose you ask a general question about a famous person like Albert Einstein. Its go to for responses like that are Wikipedia and two or three other sources of information to build a response. In our daily work, though, we need more precision. Ideally, we want to infer grounding context from the user's present work context. If they are viewing a client file, that's the context. If they're viewing a single document, then that is the context. In this way, we know that the user and the AI are focused on the same information. The context window is most valuable if the information has been expertly curated or if it has been collected through everyday business processes into a single entity, which we call the business workspace. One way to accomplish this is to tie the notion of the business workspace with all of its constituent folders and documents to active line of business data. Business workspaces can represent any business transaction or process as a whole. Examples are a new sale contract and RFP, case file, HR file, medical file, or insurance claim. By integrating line of business application data from SAP, Salesforce, Microsoft Dynamics, or other applications with content, we automatically connect metadata for labeling, governance, and security policies in a fully integrated and automated methodology. This is the most powerful way to build the ultimate context window and provide expert, accurate, and safe grounding data for our AI to work with in any user interaction. What's more, we can also tie the business workspace to a collaboration platform such as Microsoft Teams. This has several advantages that improve AI performance. It cuts down on duplicates, better informs and automates the process of sweeping away content sprawl, and instantly adds rich metadata to otherwise unlabeled content. By embracing the business workspace and its integration with collaboration, we're expanding the knowledge GenAI relies on and the accuracy of the grounding data. Business workspaces foster the pinnacle of well managed, well governed content. AI governance is a growing area of concern and therefore public and organizational policy. If you search for AI governance on the web, you're likely to get descriptions rooted in technology or computer science issues. AI governance is not just a technical discipline, it's much broader, driving legislation, public policy, and consumer activism. AI governance is a form of information governance, and its tenets and principles should be very familiar to information governance practitioners. Some of the principles include transparency and explainability, documenting the language model used, where grounding information comes from, and how it's managed. Fairness and non discrimination. What controls and checks are there to ensure that AI does not extend or exacerbate social and institutional bias and discrimination? This is a major area of risk mitigation and should involve your risk officer and many other stakeholders. It's also a key topic of legislation and proposed rules. Privacy and data protection. GenAI implementations must continue to protect consumer and employee privacy and protect sensitive information such as PII and health information. Accountability and oversight. There should be a process by which GenAI projects receive oversight, reviews occur, and issues are resolved. Assume there will be issues and put a process in place to respond to them and address remedies. Safety and robustness. This is a combination of factors, including the safety efforts of language model providers such as Google and OpenAI, and the sensitivity and security of the grounding data and implementation. As with any public policy debate, legislation and rulemaking are on the horizon. Some jurisdictions where AI governance is emerging formally include the EU, where an Artificial Intelligence Act is already in draft, the U.S. Presidential Executive Order, biometric controls in the UK, and the Artificial Intelligence and Data Act in Canada. There are explicit exemptions in the rules for everyday internally focused work, as many GenAI uses don't necessarily affect the public, just organizational effectiveness and productivity. However, whenever there are consumer touchpoints, implications on hiring decisions, or worker safety, for example, pay attention to compliance and organizational policy to ensure that GenAI users remain accountable and make informed decisions. Ultimately, GenAI gives us a huge leap in usability and productivity, especially with vast information repositories. GenAI bridges the gap between busy and overwhelmed users faced with too much information and expectations of higher productivity. OpenText launched our flagship GenAI Aviator last fall at OpenText World. The entire company is mobilized to advance AI within every product line and process, and we'll have great things to share about progress at OpenText World 2024. Content Aviator is built into all of our content services capabilities, including core content, extended ECM, Documentum, and more. It's focused and contextual, integrating with the business workspace to steer users towards safe and relevant grounding and superior GenAI performance. Our R&D is focused on several key areas, including better navigation of information and documents, innovative grounding strategies, and novel use cases to make users and teams more productive. Already, we're seeing real changes in how people experience the content services environment, and of course, we're putting enormous focus on security and trust. Check out the resources accompanying this video for more information. I'm Mike Safar for OpenText.
Information is everywhere. It's all around us and in everything that we do. But what if the impact of our decisions were reflected in this information? What if you could have a conversation with it? Discover, act, grow. Unlock potential with a new perspective. The internet changed everything, but with AI, everything must change. Every industry, every organization, every role. AI is shaping the future, what it means to be a company, and what it means to be human. Where will AI take you? The possibilities are endless.